All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the ASAP Sports Network Sunday Night Football Postgame Show. I am joined tonight by none other than the ever-intelligent Christopher Brown. How's it going tonight, man?
It's going good. Cannot wait to talk about these games, especially this last one, because boy, am I mad.
All right, so before we get started on that, I want to let you know that tonight's show is actually being brought to you in part by Suzanne's Bling, which is paparazzi jewelry. She actually has 24/7 shopping available. All paparazzi accessories are $5. That's the special offer for all ASAP Sports viewers. That code is 196620. Okay, and then jumping away from our sponsor, Chris. So I want to know something. How can you win one of those free shirts?
Well, to win a free shirt, engage with us. Comment when we go live, like our pages, like the videos, share our page, share the videos. And whoever does that the most, it'll be tallied up. And at the end, we pick a viewer of the month. And that viewer of the month gets a lovely ASAP Network t-shirt.
All right. Now, what if you cannot get on the show and comment, but you're looking at those shirts, you're like, man, those shirts are really awesome. I still think I want one, and I want to get my family some. So how do you do that?
Well, if you want an ASAP shirt, just message us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. The shirt's only $25 plus shipping and handling. ASAP Network will get them to you ASAP.
I like it. I like that. All right. So now we're going to jump into that awesome, I guess you can call it the awesome Sunday night football. I don't think it was kind of what anybody was expecting. On the other hand, I did pick the Saints to win, but I thought that this game was going to be a lot closer than what it was. So, Chris, go ahead and give us your breakdown of this game.
Before I get the breakdown, I just want to say, what's up, Brandon Herrera? How you doing? Your team, did they play bad? Did they play good? I thought they played decent. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. But let's talk about this last game. Now, in fantasy, for the ASAP Network fantasy, we have a fantasy league, and I chose to bench Kyler Murray. And we're going to get into his performance later. I chose to bench Kyler Murray for Tom Brady. I also started Rob Gronkowski, and I also started the Buccaneers defense. So just imagine, how excited I am to figure out that Tom Brady had 2.36 points, Rob Gronkowski had 1.2, and the defense had -1. Let's really talk about this game. The Buccaneers, after the first quarter, it was over. 14-0. I mean, the Buccaneers started off slow. I think they had 4 or 5 straight 3-and-outs. You cannot do that against the Saints team. One thing that this New Orleans Saints team does well is take advantage of the opportunities given to them. Yes, they don't play great all the time, but if their defense are getting stops, if their defense are creating turnovers, that offense, Sean Payton, Drew Brees, will take advantage, and they did that tonight. I mean, Tom Brady was terrible. 22 for 38, 3 interceptions. Drew Brees, he played well. He didn't have a lot of yards, but he scored points. At the end of the day, it was a pure dominant performance by the New Orleans Saints. And like I said, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, the Buccaneers in general, they did me so wrong in fantasy. They made me lose to Nate. I thought I had this game in the bag, and they made me lose to Nate. So, when I look at this game, I'm really questioning Tampa Bay because they got outscored 31-0 in the first half. Like I said, it was no chance. They never established a run game, which makes no sense when you go and get a Leonard Fournette. I mean, I understand why they did it. Your best offensive lineman is hurt, but you don't establish the run until it's too late. And then after that, you have no shot. So the play calling was bad from the get-go. The plays, how they executed on the field was bad for the get-go. New Orleans Saints right now, just because of this victory alone, they're probably the favorites to win the division now.
So when you look at this game tonight, I saw a statistic that really stuck out to me, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So the NFL record for runs in a game was 6. 6 rushes in a game. Tonight, the Buccaneers ran the ball 4 times. What do you have to say about the Buccaneers running the ball 4 times, especially when they had the ball at the 1 and you have Leonard Fournette and you run the ball 1 time, but you pass it at 4 consecutive plays?
This is when teams start to get pass hungry. You look at Kansas City, they have all the weapons, but they have a great running game. Why? Because they understand the balance. Today, Tampa Bay, throughout the year, they had a very good run game, and today just didn't show. You don't get Leonard Fournette involved. I don't care how bad your offensive lineman is. I don't care how bad they are. I don't care. Your best offensive lineman is hurt. You still need to establish the run in the NFL. You still have Jones, too. You have 2 very capable running backs, and yet they neglected to run the ball. The play call was bad on 1st and 2nd down, so it made them have to pass the ball on 3rd down. Play call was bad on 1st down, made them have to pass on 2nd. I think, the team needs to run the ball. Every time, when teams stop running the ball and they start passing it, it doesn't go great all the time. And tonight it showed. You start off slow. And once you start losing by a lot, you can't run the ball anymore because you're trying to go fast. And when you're on a goal line, let's remember how the Seahawks lost the championship. They didn't give it to Marshawn Lynch. You have Leonard Fournette. I'm not saying he's Marshawn Lynch, but I'm saying he's not that easy to tackle. Give him the ball in the 1-yard line. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they play bad. It's on them why they lost. They have no excuses. Everybody was healthy. And Antonio Brown is coming into the game. They had bad play calling. They executed bad. And, I don't really blame the defense as much. Defense, they had to stop them within 50 yards. The Saints had great field position the entire game. So, yeah, I feel bad for Leonard Fournette only because it's like, yo, why'd you bring me here? The most important game so far, you don't give me touches. This doesn't make no sense. I question play calling. Question Bruce Arians.
Right. So tonight, do you realize that Tom Brady actually ran the ball 3 times? Yeah, Tom Brady himself. And then here's the other thing, and I completely agree with Coach Cam on this. When Coach Cam was saying that, it seemed to me like Tom Brady was too thirsty to try and get Antonio Brown involved in the game. That's what it seemed like to me. I understand it's Antonio Brown's first game back. You want to get him involved, but you don't want to be overzealous to try and get him involved by forcing throws. Now, a few of those throws that he threw, those were not Brady-esque throws. Those were throws that I'm like,
Tom Brady had a lot of bad throws tonight. He missed Gronk. He honestly threw, he had Gronk and AB wide open and overthrew Gronk. There was a lot of drops. So overall, it was just one of those games where you just get punched in the mouth. And after the first quarter, I'm like, oh Lord, this is gonna be bad. After the first half, I stopped watching the game. I mean, I know a lot of people out there stopped watching the game after the first half, especially throughout that third quarter when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers showed no signs of life. It's just like, listen, the Saints won this game. They dominated this game. And take my hats off to the Saints. I got a lot of New Orleans Saint fans that are friends, and they're texting me like, I told you should have bet on the Saints. So who that nation? You deserve a victory. My hats off to you.
Right, which is something I was going to bring up because I was going to say, we're sitting here talking about how bad the Buccaneers played, but you got to look on the other side too and be like, the Saints showed up to play. This was a team that was ready. Their game plan was there, and Drew Brees tonight, for as many people that were saying, does Drew Brees still have it? I'll tell you what, tonight he showed that dude still has it. He was hitting, he hit like 10 or 11 different receivers tonight.
Yeah, he still has it. The criticism where they say he doesn't have the same arm he used to, I think that's sound. But to say he's not a good quarterback anymore, that's a little, wash, because at the end of the day, he has knowledge. And at the end of the day, he's still very accurate, knows how to put the ball in certain places. So, yes, he's not going to kill you with the deep throws, but he will pick apart the defense. And that's what he did tonight. And that's what he's going to continue to do for however long he wants to play.
No, and so that is one thing that I will say that I agree with you on with Drew Brees. No, he can't throw that deep ball like he used to anymore, but he doesn't have to now because he has an Alvin Kamara that comes out of the backfield that he can turn a simple 5-yard run into a 30-yard touchdown. That's how good this guy is. Now, tonight, Drew Brees also got a Mike Thomas back. Emmanuel Sanders was back.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's starting to get his weapons back. They're starting to get healthy again on defense. So from what you saw tonight from the New Orleans Saints, how far do you think they can go?
Well, I will say this: the Saints definitely changed my opinion on the Buccaneers for sure. For sure, they changed my. But on the Saints, I will say this: they can go as far as they want to. They're a team that can beat anybody, but they're also a team that we saw the past couple of playoffs that lose. I mean, they lose, and like bad things, bad things happen to the Saints in playoffs. So I think they're literally a team that can go all the way to the Super Bowl, and they have what it takes to win the Super Bowl. But can they not self-destruct? Can they not, mess up? If they play the way they do, usually they play like this in the playoffs, they can go all the way to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. But it's a matter of can they get there? You know, NFL and any sport, it's all about matchups. Is the matchup for the Saints in the playoffs going to be beneficial to them? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. Because when I look at the Saints, I look at a team that nobody really talks about them because we all know they're going to be there at the end of the season, but we don't know what kind of Saints team we're going to get in the playoffs. And that's what I'm going to have to wait and see. I know they're going to get there, but it's a matter of can they perform? Will they perform? And, will it just be another Saints season where they go in the playoffs and lose in the first round?
Yeah, and I feel like, we're talking about Drew Brees, we're talking about a Michael Thomas, we're talking about an Alvin Kamara, but there's one guy that I feel like that people don't talk about him enough, and this guy's a playmaker. He can hit you from every way, and that's Taysom Hill.
Yes.
He is what you call a multi-dimensional player. He can play running back. He can quarterback, receiver. He can hit you from anywhere on the field, even on special teams. He does it all.
Yeah, that dude's a beast. He's one of a kind. When people trying to say Jalen Hurts should do what he do, no, because Jalen Hurts is really a quarterback. Taysom Hill has shown that Jalen Hurts not going out on special teams. Jalen Hurts not playing tight end. Jalen Hurts not lining up in the backfield, running inside the guard box like Taysom Hill does. Taysom Hill is a special talent. I mean, I remember watching a play. He hurdled a guy. This is a dude that doesn't want to slide. This is a dude that wants to compete. So with him being able to do a lot for this offense, it not only helps, the offense, but it helps himself. I think he's in the best situation he'll ever be. I'm pretty sure he's going to retire with the Saints because they're the only team I feel like that are willing to use his strength, his skill set, which is just be a playmaker. Because at the end of the day, that's all he is. He's not a quarterback, not a running back, not a tight end, not a wide receiver. He's a football player, and he just goes on the football field and he just competes and he performs.
Yeah, so you can see that Drew Brees right now is at 41.
Mm-hmm.
And behind him at the moment is Jameis Winston. Now, everybody knows that he's on a 1-year deal.
Yes.
So if Drew Brees retires, does the Saints re-sign Jameis Winston or do they go, you know what? We have Taysom Hill. Let's roll with him.
They're re-signing Jameis, and it's not even close. I mean, if they thought Hill was going to be the true backup, they would have never signed another backup, especially one as high caliber as Jameis Winston. Everybody wants to, talk bad about him, because how he started his career, especially last year, throwing all those interceptions. But I would take Jameis over a lot of starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I think he's a very, very talented quarterback. You look at the system he was in, that played a part. You look at it when he was there, he really never had a running game, so all he had to do was pass. That played a part to it. This dude is a very talented quarterback, and I would re-sign him in a heartbeat. Hill is good, but he's not a true quarterback that can sit there and throw 40, 45 times a game, that can throw all the routes, that can really be a true quarterback. Not taking anything away from him, but we've seen so far that's not his skill. For me, Jameis is the future. He's learning under Sean Payton. He's learning under Drew Brees. Stay Drew Brees. And I don't know how long Drew Brees can play. Honestly, at this rate, with that great offensive line, he could play for another 2-3 years. I don't see Jameis Winston backing up them for another 2-3 years. But I will say, if Drew retires this year, I think they'll be confident in keeping Jameis. But we saw with Teddy Bridgewater. He stayed there for a year. He left. He got a starting job in Carolina. Jameis, this might be an opportunity where he stays there for a year. Next year, there's a lot of teams that I could see looking for a quarterback. Nate, your Broncos, I wouldn't be surprised they're looking for a quarterback. I'll just throwing the team out there. but he might stay here for a year and go to the best, option for him. I don't see him riding the bench for 2 straight years unless there's no good quarterback opportunities out there next year.
No, and Drew Brees was really, really close this year to actually retiring and not coming back. So that's why I can see him after this season. I can see
he'll
him
take over.
Yeah, and I could see him walking away and retiring. So at that point, you have a Jameis Winston who has now played behind Drew Brees for a year, and that's really all he needs. Because learning behind a quarterback like Drew Brees, God, you can learn so much.
Learn about a great quarterback and a head coach that trusts you and a head coach that, build your confidence up. All that plays a part to it. When you have a great, mentor ahead of you, he's able to teach you things, especially when you look at Jameis. He's brought into the league on an organization that's not very good. Let's just be honest. This organization, yes, they won the Super Bowl. Yes, they had a little run. But at the end of the day, when have they ever had a great quarterback? When has a great quarterback ever prospered there in the Buccaneers? He never got a chance to learn. He never had a true veteran. He had a lot of head coaches. You go to New Orleans, you have a great head coach and a great quarterback ahead of you. This is the best place for him to learn. It's like going to school, and he's going to get all A's next year. Believe that.
Yeah, and I feel like people don't give Sean Payton enough credit. You don't when you talk about top coaches in the NFL, you don't hear a lot about Sean Payton being at the top of that list. But at some point, you got to start talking about how good of a coach Sean Payton actually is.
I say Payton, without thinking, I would give him top five, 6, without thinking. Off the bat, you cannot say, it's hard to say he's not top 5. I'd have to sit down and think about that, and I'm probably going to put that list together for that. But off the top of my head, you can't tell me he's not top 5 or top 6.
All right. So my final question for you about tonight, do you think that the Saints are actually that good, or do you think that the Buccaneers just had like a really, really bad night?
I will say this. The Saints are legit. The Saints are a Super Bowl contender, a team that can win a Super Bowl. But I do think I was about to say the Patriots. Oh, my goodness. I do think the Buccaneers just had a bad start, and they could have bounced back. I mean, once you give the Saints, that much field position time after time after time, when your offense can't connect, when wide receivers aren't being able to catch the ball, when you have no blocking, they just had a bad night. I mean, a lot of teams have bad nights. We've seen, the Packers have a bad night, just on, good teams out there. We've seen a lot of teams have bad nights. So I feel like this is just a bad night. But if I'm the Buccaneers, I'm not going to say I'm worried, but I'm worried. Because, man, this is a team that you're probably going to have to play in the playoffs. This is a team that had your number, a team in your division. And now looking at it, the Buccaneers might honestly be a wild card spot. A wild card spot. Does it mean anything without no fans? We don't know. I know home field advantage to me. I don't see it without no fans. But every team would like to play at home. So if I'm the Buccaneers, I'm hitting the drawing board and said, okay, what do we have to fix? Because at the end of the day, if we can't beat this team, can we beat anybody irrelevant in the playoffs?
Because the Saints are obviously doing something right, because they've already beat them twice now, and
get after Tom Brady.
Beat them, and both times they beat the Bucs. It really wasn't even. It didn't even seem like it was that hard.
Yeah,
honestly.
You get after. To me, when I say okay, you're going against Tom Brady, what do you have to do? To me, you have to get pressure. Tom Brady is a quarterback. When you for any great quarterback, but when you're Tom Brady and you play so long, you understand how to beat defenses. Just like Drew Brees, if you give them time, they will pick you apart. So what the Saints did that I saw, the defensive line got at him, they blitzed, and then you know who the key guys are. Rob Gronkowski, take him away. Jenkins did that great to me. He's a great safety in doing that. Godwin had some drops. AB, I don't think they really forced it to him. I think at times Tom Brady, do bad passes. I think he honestly played a decent game for to be his first game back. So to me, when you get after Tom Brady, you're doing something right. This offensive line, they play good up until they go against the Saints. It's just when they play against the Saints, this offensive line does bad. And I know they're missing their top offensive lineman, but at the end of the day, you need to get a guy like Tom Brady time to dissect the defense. If he can't do that, he's not useful in the football field because he's not going to scramble. He's not that type of quarterback. He needs time to pick you apart, just like Drew Brees. Why has Drew Brees been so successful? Because you can argue he has the best offensive line in the game. He has 2 dominant tackles, 2 dominant guards, and a good center. So until the Buccaneers have a great offensive line like that, you're gonna have to wonder about the Buccaneers. Can they go against a team and win? A team that gets a lot of pressures, blitzing, and just great D line. That's a question moving forward for me with the Buccaneers right now.
Yeah, and you may not agree with me on this, but my opinion about this is pretty much if you have a great O-line, if you give any quarterback time to throw, a quarterback can pick you apart if you have
I
a great
agree.
O-line. It
I
doesn't
agree.
matter who's back there. If you have time, they will find a receiver open at some point.
I agree. I definitely agree. The game of football is won in the trenches. If you have a good D line and get after the quarterback, that's great. If you have a good O line that can protect your quarterback, that's great. And you got to look at it too. With a good O line, not only can you pass, but you can run. You know, so yeah, the Buccaneers to me, man, this hurt because I had them up there, my top two when it comes to best teams in the NFL, and them getting smacked like this. I have to go back to the drawing board now. The Saints have to move up, and the Buccaneers honestly have to move down just because of how bad. Like if it had been a close game, my thoughts might not be like this. But this the fact that they got dominated, I really have to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate the Buccaneers. Not saying that they're going to be a bust, but I'm just saying, like they played this bad. Oh my goodness.
How far would you say you moved them down? Because obviously, if you had them at 2 and they just got thumped by the Saints, who beat them twice now, and the Saints have a better record, they're first in the NFC South. So obviously, at this point, you have to put the Saints ahead of the Bucks because the Bucks haven't proved that they can beat the Saints yet. So I don't know. Can you actually put the Saints in the number 2 spot? I don't think you really can.
Right now, no, they're not my number 2. They might be my number 3. I really have to go back and look because they're, I know we're not going to talk about it, but I just want to bring up the Bills beat the Seahawks today, and this is a game I knew it could go that way. And when I look at the Seahawks, they went down and the Bills went up. So my list is all over the place. Sadly, my Eagles aren't on my list. I wish they were. It at least would make me feel better about making the new top 10. But this week really opened my eyes about the NFL, and some teams play great and some teams play bad. Gotta go back to the drawing board on this.
But going back to the Bills and Seahawks, I did not expect the Bills to put up 44 against the Seahawks. I did not expect them to do that to them.
I did. The Seahawks have a bad. Seahawks have a bad defense, and the Bills this year has been led by their offense. So I thought it was going to be a high scoring game. And when I picked the Seahawks to win this because, of my trust with Russell Wilson, but I wasn't surprised at the score. I've been high on the Bills all year, but their defense has been letting me down. Today their defense played relatively well, but, late in the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson's going to, lead his team down to score. But I think their offense, Josh Allen played great in sustaining that lead. So I'm not surprised at them scoring that many points. I am surprised that, they won. I'm not surprised, but, I had the Seahawks winning. But, shout out to the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully they can keep up the success in the playoffs because, man, they're playing, their offense is looking good. That defense is questionable.
All right, so now jumping away from this game, we are going to actually start talking about some afternoon games. So the first afternoon game we're going to talk about, we're going to jump into that Tua time, I guess, that everybody's saying it's Tua time. He won his first game last week, but as we know in his first game, Tua didn't even have to do anything.
No.
But this week, he had to, and I'll tell you what, I'll give him credit. He looked pretty impressive against the Cardinals. So what was your takeaway in this game?
Yeah, I was hearing so much criticism about Tua, and I'm not coming out here saying he's the best rookie quarterback out here because the other two proved it. But I will say that they were trying to say, he's short, he's not mobile. Look at Drew Brees and the career he had. When you have that type of accuracy, you're going to do well. To me, Tua is a left-handed. Drew Brees is a little bit more mobile. I think Tua played great. I think this Dolphins team played great. I mean, I had the Dolphins being one of my, surprise underrated teams this year. People say, they're tanking, but you don't go out and sign that many players in free agency if you're tanking. You don't go out and sign another top corner. You don't go out and, help up that defensive line, which they did, that made plays tonight. A sack fumble return for a touchdown. So you don't go out and make plays like that. Make moves like that if you're not trying to win. To me, I'm not surprised that the Dolphins won this game. I did have the Cardinals winning, but like the Seahawks and Bills game, I knew it could go either way. The Cardinals played a good game. It just came down to that one turnover. Both quarterbacks played well. Shout out to Tua. Me and you are firm believers that we thought Fitzpatrick should continue starting, but I'm glad to see Tua's balling like this. I knew he was capable. I just didn't know if it was time yet because they were on the right track. But the fact that Tua, is 2-0 is 2 starts, I'm not surprised. And, I'm glad that he's being able to show it. I do think it's probably pressure in the front office, we need our rookie quarterback out there. But 2-0 against 2 top teams in the same division. I mean, the Rams, and the Cardinals are in the same division. The Rams are a top team. The Cardinals are a top team. And this Miami Dolphins team beat both. So the future is bright for the Dolphins. The future is bright for Tua. Just getting more weapons in the offensive line. And, man, we got 3 very good rookie quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Well, there was a difference between last week and this week, though, is that last week Tua didn't have to do anything. That was all defense and special.
Yeah.
This week, the defense played good enough to get the win, but Tua had to do a heck of a lot more this week to actually put effort into this game and actually help get the victory. That's why this week he did look good. Tua is starting to show me that, just like you said, maybe they did make the right call. Maybe it was the right time, even though I was still upset that they benched Fitzpatrick when I didn't think it was time yet.
Me too.
And yes, I was with you at the beginning of the season. I think we both had the Dolphins as one of those sleeper teams. We had said it, but I had the Dolphins going at 7-9, just looking outside the playoffs. But right now, with the way that the Dolphins are playing, they actually look like they could actually get into the playoffs and maybe win a game in the playoffs, because they have the number 1 scoring team, or the number 1 scoring defense in all of the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely, when I did my picks and, divisions, people were saying the Patriots this and the Patriots that. I didn't think the Patriots roster came close to being as good as the Dolphins roster were. So I did have them being second. I knew it could have been a possibility that they might be able to sneak into the playoffs, especially with this added team. But I don't know if they're going to be able to win a game. It all depends on matchups. It really all depends on matchups. They're not going to win a division, so they're going to be a wild card. When I look at top teams in the AFC, I mean, unless they go against a team that's relatively close to them, like the Colts, or the Titans, if they win in their division, I don't see them being any other division, winners. So when I look at the Dolphins, I think that, looking at the AFC, they might be able to sneak into, I got to look at the rest of the Dolphins' schedule. But if they make the playoffs, I want to be surprised. And I don't know why other people would be surprised, because, like I said, they made so many moves in the offseason. I mean, they have 2 top cornerbacks in the game right now. You don't sign Byron Jones to that much money if you don't go get our running backs. You don't go get a whole bunch of defensive linemen and linebackers if you don't want to win. So I'm not surprised that they have the number 1 scoring defense. They made, big moves on that defense, and it's paying out. So shout out to the Dolphins. I know Dolphins fans, they're non-existent because they don't win anything. And so, my friend's a Dolphins fan. He posted, finally for 2 straight weeks, hey, my team's doing something. So I know Dolphins fans are happy to be, victorious this week, especially against a very good team in the Cardinals. I mean, I know when I looked at, the NFL Network, all 4 of those guys picked the Cardinals to win. It was a shocker to a lot of people that the Cardinals, lost this game, because people just don't believe in Miami yet. It's Tua time, and Tua's going to dominate this NFL soon.
Because it is now time to start believing in this Dolphins team.
Yes.
At the beginning, before the season started, I honestly thought that Buffalo was going to run away with the AFC East. But at this point in time, I think this division is going to be a heck of a lot closer.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
Ooh. I don't know.
Really?
Go ahead. Yeah, I think Buffalo's still going to run away. I still have Miami being second. I don't think Miami's going to touch Buffalo.
To me, when you look at the defensive side of the ball between Miami and Buffalo, they're similar. They're both really good on defense. It's going to come down to which offense can play better. Is it going to be Buffalo's, or is it going to be Miami? Which quarterback are you going to trust more? Are you going to trust a Josh Allen more? Are you going to trust a Tua more? Well, let me see Tua for a couple more weeks, and if Tua continues to put up numbers like this, then I might jump on the Tua train and be like, maybe I trust Tua a little bit more than I do on Josh Allen.
That is a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. That is a hot take, and I'm not mad at you. But, what Josh Allen has shown me so far is that I got a guy that's going to compete. I know what I'm getting out of Josh Allen. I can't sit up here and say I'm picking Tua over Allen, because I know one thing I know for sure is Josh Allen plus Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen and John Brown, Josh Allen and Beasley. Who's going to be those receivers that's consistent for Miami? They have good receivers, but who's going to be consistent? And who's a true number 1? I mean, Devontae Parker is good, but he's not a Stephon Diggs. Not taking anything away from him. But when I look, how you said it comes down to offense, I believe more right now in the Buffalo's offense. And honestly, I believe a little bit more in Miami's defense. That's how I kind of look at it. I like Miami's defense just a little bit more. Buffalo's defense, they're underperforming this year. You look at last year, they were led by the defense. This year, they're giving up a lot of points this year. So we're just going to wait and see. But I like that take, though. And I'm not – listen, two young teams, I think they're both just happy that they're in the mix and not the Patriots.
So J-Mac actually asked a question and said, did we have the Patriots finishing third in the East? And my thing was at the very beginning, I did, because I said it was going to be Buffalo 1, Miami 2, New England 3, and then obviously the Jets 4. Yes. And we know right now that that's how it's turning out, unless somehow the Jets can pull off a few wins and overtake New England, but that's not happening.
They don't want that to happen either.
Horrible.
Yeah. I feel like it was a lot of, not taking anything away from Cam, but it was a lot of hype in the Patriots because he was there. A lot of people didn't sit down and break down that roster. Like, struggles on the offensive line, no weapons, defense. You lost 6 starters. You might have they started off nice, but then after that they've been on a steady decline. When you look at the Dolphins, their roster is better. We obviously Bill Belichick's the best coach, but it's only so much you can do. It's not the NBA. You got 11 guys on offense, then a whole different 11 on defense, a whole different 11 on special teams. So he has to coach a lot of new guys, a lot of guys that aren't as skillful and impactful to this team, how they were, how others were previous years. So I did have the Patriots finishing third. I know somebody told me they'd finish first. I said, man, y'all just, bandwagons right now. You're not looking at the roster. Because if you look at the roster and the teams, Buffalo's number 1 by far. Miami's, made so many improvements. They're definitely second. And, New England, everybody's glad that they're third. And the Jets, they don't want to win anything. They want to keep losing forever. So they're going to continue to be number 4.
Right. And so now Kendall Loom, this was going back to my take when I said that the Dolphins could potentially, win a playoff game and that they were close with Buffalo. He said that take is ridiculous, but I don't really think it's all that ridiculous because I think they're I think they're getting pretty close. And going back to that, Kendall Loom also says Patriots lost a lot of their defense to COVID.
6 starters.
A lot of them actually opted out to actually start the season. That's so instantly, once I saw that, I was like, yeah, the Patriots are not going to be that same team. Now, going back to what you were saying too, how I think you said there was some Patriots fans who said, yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're still looking the same. I know 2 guys that once that they're Patriots fans, and once they saw that the Patriots signed Cam Newton, they're like, oh my gosh, we're right back to where, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So you're trying to say you're right back to where you were just because you signed Cam Newton? That's crazy.
That's very crazy. And I will say this, I love Cam, but when you give a quarterback that has, coming off injury, no weapons, you're going to struggle. Cam Newton's not Aaron Rodgers. Cam Newton's not Patrick Mahomes. Cam Newton brings something different to to an offense, to a team. Cam Newton's by far a better runner, but he's not a guy that's as accurate as those guys, as a Drew Brees, as a Tom Brady. He's not a guy that's really going to sit there and pass 50 times and break you down like those quarterbacks are. So, with no weapons, I mean, I knew he was going to struggle. But the struggle he's having right now, I hope teams don't, look. I hope teams really break that down and say he had nobody there. He had nobody there. And then when you look at what he brings, he's not a guy that's going to drop back 50 times and dot. No, give this man. If Cam Newton had weapons, I look at this Patriots team different. But right now with no weapons, they're struggling. And I'm just going, scratching my head like, is Cam Newton going to be in the NFL next year? Because I don't know. Not because of him, but because I know how other teams and the media is going to look at this and not take it in the full picture and say he had a terrible team. Like, it's not really on him.
So Nate is saying that he would go with Buffalo just off basically off what he saw today. But
as you should.
But my take on that, though, is if you look at the situation, Miami played Arizona. Miami was able to beat Arizona. Arizona actually beat Seattle. So that's why I'm looking at that too, going, you could go either way because Arizona was able to beat Seattle too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I will say this right now, and I look at in the future, who you taking, Josh Allen or Tua? Right now.
Right now?
Right, as we speak.
Since I have not seen enough of Tua right now at this point in time, I would go with Josh Allen. But
Okay, now who you taking? The head coach for the Buffalo Bills or Miami's head coach? I think his name's McDermott for the Bills, and I don't
Yeah,
even know the head
yeah.
coach for the
It's
Dolphins.
McDermott for the Bills or Flores for the Dolphins. But at this point in time, I would actually go with McDermott from
Okay.
Buffalo just because of what
Mhm.
he's done in Buffalo. He
Okay. Now,
has basically turned that team
mhm.
completely around.
Yeah, to your credit, I think things are going to look very different for the Dolphins in a positive way in the next couple of weeks. But I can't, I'm high on the Dolphins. I just can't, and I see why you're saying this, and I see the reason behind it. But personally, I just can't get behind that just yet. Now, can it happen? Yes. And are these two teams the future? As of right now, yes. But I don't. When I look at AFC teams, I just don't know. I do think it's a possibility they make it. I just don't know who they would beat in the playoff. Unless they go against the Bills and it's two division rivals, then that's a toss up. But other than that, depending on the record, they might be going up against a Ravens team
Well,
because the Ravens might not win a division.
Well, yeah, and that's why I didn't say right now. I said give me a little bit of time and let me see how Tua plays. And if Tua continues to play like this, then it's possible just based off of defense, just how good their defense is, which is
Yeah,
why I was saying that.
great defense.
Yeah. All right. So going on to our next game in the afternoon, we actually had the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. This
Whew.
game was a heck of a lot closer than what I thought it was going to be. I gave Dallas no shot in this game whatsoever. But
Yeah.
if you had to give Gilbert a grade, how would you say that Gilbert actually played in this game for his first career start?
I about a C plus. I mean, they were in it. They were in it. They were close against an undefeated team. Obviously he didn't have the best game, but I mean, for it to be his first start and they played with fight, I can't sit up here and give him an F. I got to give him at least a C minus in their range. Definitely not no F though. Definitely not an F.
Yeah, and I actually have a Cowboys fan who told me and said, I'm only taking the Cowboys in this game just to see the look on your face. And then as I'm watching this game, I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, Dallas might actually pull off this game.
If they would have won this game, I don't know what I'd be able to do because this was a game. Listen, this is a game I needed them to lose for, my bad division. I understand it's bad, but a lot of people are hurt. So when you got a lot of people hurt, whoever gets, wins the games with people hurt, whoever gets healthier faster is going to win. So with everybody hurt for them, I'm like, oh man, please don't win against the Steelers. Then I'm watching, I'm like, are they about to beat the Steelers? They're dethroning the Steelers. The messages I'm going to get are going to be outrageous. I don't know what I'd be able to do with all these messages that be in my phone right now.
Obviously, Gilbert so far has been the best backup that they've had because Dalton hasn't looked good.
I'm still giving a nod to Dalton. I'd still give the nod to Dalton.
No, I'm saying as long as Dalton's not healthy, and if you look at Danichi and Gilbert, you have to go with Gilbert because we don't know when Dalton's going to be back yet. I haven't heard.
Yeah, that is true. But one thing I'll say, I think the game plan was very different this game for what they did this week, going into the week where they played, my dominant Eagles. Shout out to my team. But this team, when we're looking at this game, one thing they did do was establish the run. 31 rushes. About time. Zeke only had 18. Wishley had 35. But at the end of the day, 31 times on the ground. It's finally something that they're doing against a dominant run defense that we've seen get, taken apart on the run tip this week and last week. So what they did was have a better game plan, and that helped out the quarterback. But right now, I guess they're going with Goodbert, but to me, I'm not as sold. I'm not sold on any of them, to be honest. If Dalton's healthy, I'm putting in Dalton. But if not, I think it's still a battle out. They'll probably give the nod to Gilbert just because he played a little bit better of a game, but I don't think it's that far away.
And I do agree with Kendall when he says that McCarthy's play calling is predictable in the fourth. It really is. When you look at McCarthy's history, his play calling is just so predictable game in and game out. It is easy to know exactly what he's going to call. Everybody knows he doesn't like to run the football. He likes to pass it. And he's never had a running back quite like Ezekiel Elliott, and he still doesn't like to run the football.
Which makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Right, in your opinion, where's the Steelers at when it comes to your power rankings in the NFL? There ain't no. There ain't no. So what's your thoughts on it? Because I know I have my thoughts, and my thoughts been the same all year. So what's your thoughts on them at 8-0 right now?
My thoughts is that I've wanted to put them at number 1 only because of the undefeated record, but I'm not going to put them there because I know that there is teams out there that can beat them. So where would I put them? I see about 3 teams in the NFL at this point in time that could beat them. So right now I'd probably stick them at least at number 4. I have to put them in the top 5. You have to put them in the top 5 just because of their record.
I will say this at 8, they're probably 2 or 3 for me. They're definitely not number 1. Jason, I see a comment. You share, try and get that shirt. I feel you. I'm trying to get a shirt too. I'm about to create a burner account. Call me Kevin Durant. Kendall Lum, I see you. Honestly, you think they're overrated. I'm leaning towards that comment only because I don't want to say they're overrated. I just want to say that they have so many questions for me that need to be answered. I said this team 1 week their defense plays good, 1 week their offense plays good. I never seen the same. Going against this Cowboys team, they almost lost it. Win is a win, but if it's another team, it's just a lot of questions. Where's the running game? Where's James Conner? They never had a great running game established today and in previous weeks. So I'm waiting to see, can that running game be consistent? Big Ben, I know he can be able to do some things, but I mean, that you need a running game, and then the defense has been getting popped. So to me, I don't think they're the best team. And then when I look at their schedule, I mean, let's be honest. Other than the Ravens, they don't really play nobody tough no more. They're going to have a cakewalk. Not saying, not saying they're not good, but I'm saying if you ask me, them or Chiefs, I'm taking Chiefs in a heartbeat. I don't believe in them as much as I believe in the Chiefs. Their record, honestly, they're 8-0. They could honestly be 5-3, 4-4 if some things were called different in these games.
Well, no, and so that's why I was saying you can look at the Chiefs, and I would put the Chiefs ahead of them. I think that they are a better team. It's hard when you look at Seattle just offensively. I wanna put them ahead of Pittsburgh just offensively, but it's so hard because of how bad Seattle's defense is. That's why it's so hard. But I want to put them up there, and with Tampa Bay before, I would have had them ahead of Pittsburgh with no problem. But right now, I'm not even sure after what I saw tonight. I'm not even sure about that.
I'm with you. I had Tampa Bay, like I said, above them. And now with that, Tampa Bay's out of that. When I look at teams I can put above them, the Chiefs, yes, of course. But after that, I struggle. With the Seahawks loss today, I just got to look at it and say, okay, you go against, a Steelers team, their defense is going to be better than the Bills. And to me, their offense is going to be just as good, if not better. So I'm not saying the Seahawks can't beat them, but I'm going to say I'd worry if I'm just, watching that game. The Seahawks have a great offense, but the Steelers, to me, have a scoring offense with need, especially passing the ball. They got a lot of gimmick plays, and their defense is legit. So I think, this Steelers team, they're not one. Honestly, looking at it right now, I might have to put them at number 2. I can't put the Bucks there. I'm not putting it, if anything, the Saints.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the Saints could actually beat them.
Yeah, I put the Saints number 2 now.
And they're getting healthy on the offensive side too. So that's why I'm like, I think the Saints could beat them. So you could put the Saints ahead of the Steelers. You could put the Chiefs ahead of the Steelers. And
after that, it dwindles to me because there are a lot of good teams that just took in some losses that I question. Yeah. And when I look at the Steelers, they won some games that I question, but a W is a W. So I am going to respect the fact they're 8-0. And I see your comment, if that field goal is made, would they be 8-0? No, they wouldn't. They would have lost that game. They lost momentum. This is a team to me that they're not consistent throughout the game. You can say that about a lot of teams, but it's just glaring when I look at this team. I mean, they'll either start off great and have a terrible finish or start off bad and have a great finish. But the fact that they're able to finish games and win games, I'll give my credit to them. I give my credit to Mike Tomlin. I just have to see how this team plays in the playoffs because I know in the regular season, they're not going against anybody special. They go against the Ravens one more time. We'll see how that goes. I just have to wait in the playoffs. And no, I don't think they'd have beat that Titans team if the Titans made that field goal. I think the Titans were winning in overtime and it wouldn't even be close. They'd dominate them in overtime.
Yeah, so Kendall wants to know our opinion on the Bucks defense. Well,
Mm.
the Bucks defense, they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher, and it's been a while since they've done that. So this Bucks defense to me is, I wanted before this game tonight, I would say that they're legit. I still think that they're one of the best in the league.
Top 5. It's not questionable. I said with no hesitation, I say top 5. After that, I got to sit down and break it down. But still, with no hesitation, they're definitely top 5. I don't. I see a comment it's horrible. I don't say it's horrible
It's
because
not.
they have a very good run defense. But when you look at the Saints, they have probably the 2 best tackles. Very good offensive line. You're not going to get a lot of pressure on them compared to you get on other teams. I mean, they sacked them one time, but you got to look at the field position. I don't think the defense played bad. I think the offense messed up the defense a lot by giving the Saints great field position. So without hesitation, they're top 5. They still have, their defensive backs. That's the only questionable thing to me about their defense. Their run defense is great. The D line and their linebackers are great. The cornerbacks and safeties, can they be consistent? It's the only question I have when it comes to this Buccaneers dominant defense.
So Nate is asking how high Arizona would be, but Arizona is one of those teams that's like a Jekyll and Hyde. They're kind of one of those teams that are kind of up and down. They play good one week, and then the next week you're like, they lost? How'd they lose? It's like that game today. Everybody was expecting Arizona to win that game, and they come out and they lose that because you have when you have Kyler Murray at your quarterback, and then you have a DeAndre Hopkins, a Larry Fitzgerald, a Christian Kirk, a Andy Isabella, Chase Edmonds in the backfield, and then when Kenyon Drake is healthy, you have him. So at this point, they might be a top 10 team, but they're definitely not top 5. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, they're definitely a top 10 team for sure. That's not questionable. But when you have a team that's underrated, unpredictable, surprise team, that means they're a team that can beat anybody any week, just like they beat the Seahawks. But that means they can lose to anybody any week, just like they lost to the Lions this year. It's like they lost to the Dolphins this year. So I like Arizona. I think in the playoffs, I mean, they can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody as well. Arizona to me is a team that a lot of teams don't want to see because how high-powered their offense can be and their defense can make stops when necessary. They're a good ball club. They're not top 5. But honestly, I would say if Arizona won this game, I mean, I could possibly think about maybe top 5. But after this, no, they're not close to my top 5 after this loss.
No, but you can also look on the offensive side with Kyler Murray too.
Oh, they're dominant on that side.
His games are like, they're so inconsistent at times because one week he plays really good, and then the next week he throws like 3 picks, and you're like, man, who's he throwing it to? So he's kind of hit and miss also. That's why Arizona is a team, like you said, that could potentially beat anybody. And a lot of it is going to be on the play of how Kyler Murray is going to play.
Yeah, I agree. Kyler Murray, has some games where he hasn't been the best. Everybody says he's the next Russell Wilson. And I agree on that. The thing is, though, he's not as accurate as Russell Wilson. He can make the plays, run. He can make the throws. The Russell Wilson, level of accuracy is something, that should be applauded more. He should be applauded more in general for how great he is. When I look at Kyler Murray, he's just not as accurate that I want him to be, but those are things that you can work on. But I do think he's a special talent. Not the fact that he has a true number 1 wide receiver. You just keep that offensive line with him. Listen, he's going to be one of those guys. We're talking about 10 years. I think he's going to rack up at least 2 MVPs, and they're going to make a run for a Super Bowl.
All right, so our last game of the afternoon that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the Chargers versus the Raiders.
Yes.
I had the Chargers in this game.
You did? Wow.
I did have the Chargers in this game because, come on, they came that close to winning. They came.
That is true.
A drop pass.
That is true. I just like this Raiders, I like this Raiders team. I'll say it was a great game, a division game. I just like this Raiders team. I do. I think they're a better overall team. I mean, the Chargers, honestly, their record is 2-6, but they could easily be 6-2. They lose a lot of games at the end. So, I'm not mad at you for picking them. I just thought the Raiders would pull it out. And it was a good game. I will say this. Put some respect on Justin Herbert's name.
Uh-huh.
28 for 42, 326, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, if you ask me who's the best rookie quarterback right now, man, I don't know.
It's either Burrow or Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, that's between them two because two hasn't played enough. That's what I'm saying between them two. If you ask me who played the best, who was playing the best, I don't know. They're both are playing great. Man, it'd have been great to see the Chargers win this game, but Kendall, I like your comment. Abram, he's a beast. Top 5 right now. I'd have to think on it, but honestly, he probably making it to there. He's a beast. This Raiders team to me is a team that can beat anybody and lose to anybody. That's good and bad. They have an offensive scheme where you have a great running back, but you also have a quarterback in Derek Carr that can make a lot of throws. They don't have a lot of weapons, so that's why I think they rely on their running game. The defense for them has to play better because looking at their record right now, they might be able to sneak into a wild card. If they want to be successful, that defense has to step up. Let Justin Herbert pick you apart like that, Keenan Allen catch all those balls like that is not going to help out.
And the Raiders are another one of those teams that when you look at them, and you look at the teams that they've beat, they've beat the Chiefs, they've beat the Saints, so they've beat some actually really good teams. Yes. But then they've lost against teams that you're like, how are they losing to them? So they're another one of those teams that you want to put so high up there because you think that they're going to be that good, but then they lose that game that you're like, I don't understand how they're losing that because they play so good at times and then they look so bad at times. So that's why every week when I'm picking games, I'm like, do I really want to pick the Raiders? Because I don't know what you're going to get. Derek Carr is one of those quarterbacks. His completion percentage is usually pretty high.
Yes, very high.
But and the funny thing is I know a lot of Raiders fans, and I hear a lot from Raiders fans how much they dislike him. And they tell me all the time, I wish we didn't have him. We need a different quarterback. Is it really him, or do they actually just need to get some more weapons?
You have a tight end, and then what receivers do you have? What weapons is he throwing to? Derek Carr had seasons where he was playing like a top 10 quarterback in his game. But, when Ruggs right now is only a one route type of receiver, when Nelson Aguilar is only, good for going long, you don't have a guy, like I said, outside of Waller, who you can really rely on to do more than just go deep. So when you don't have receivers like that, how are you going to be able to generate offense passing the ball? I don't understand why they don't like Derek Carr. You saw when he had weapons, what he was able to do on the field. He doesn't have weapons anymore, so his performance is not going to be the same. I mean, we're seeing right now with a lot of teams that lose their weapons, offensive line, where the whole teams, get different. Kendall, I see your comment. He's a game manager right now.
He is.
He is. But right now, but he's more than that. He's a game manager right now because one, you look at Josh Jacobs, he's a beast. You got Booker that did this thing today. They have a very good running game. You don't have receivers, so yes, when you have a quarterback that have a completion percentage, he's a great. If he has to game manage, he won't turn the ball over. If he has to turn up and try to dot you up and down the field, he can do that too. So the fact that they said they don't like Derek Carr, I say this: you put Derek Carr on a team like the Browns when they were healthy. Please, come on now. You give Derek Carr weapons. We saw what he does on the football field. I don't understand why they don't like him. Don't make no sense to me.
A lot of them that I talk to tell me that he seems like he's gun shy, and they feel like he's very inconsistent. And they're going back from his previous injury when he broke his leg. They're going back that far, saying it seems like he's gun shy now.
I mean, I have to disagree. I will say this: they probably watch him a little bit more than I do, but from what I've seen about him, I can't really call him gun shy because, like I said, who is he really throwing to night in after night out? Like, I mean, you look at this guy, 4,000 yards last year, 4,000 yards the year before, 3,400, 3,900, 3,900. Like, this dude throws the ball, and his completion percentage is always, mid 60s or high 60s or low 70s. This is a guy that doesn't seem gun shy to me. This is a guy that when he has players around him to throw the ball to, he'll make the right passes. Like I said, you put Derek Carr on a team that has weapons, and you're going to just see how good this quarterback is because he showed it already in the NFL. I don't know why teams, lose faith in their quarterback when they've done nothing but great things on the field. He hasn't. He's never been a reason why they could not get over the hump. If that was the reason why, I understand. But Derek Carr has never been a reason why this team cannot win. So, and from the Raider fan that I know, they have confidence in their quarterback. So I guess with different fans, you have different opinions. That's just sports for you right there.
Now jumping to the Chargers side, J-Mac is actually asking how many of the losses that the Chargers have are on Herbert. At this point in time, a lot of these losses are actually not on him. He's actually played fairly well. A lot of these losses are on the defense.
Yeah.
And play calling, because the Chargers can get a lead and then they get lackadaisical on offense and then they end up blowing that lead. They've done it a lot this season.
Yeah, I have to agree.
6-2.
Yeah, like I said, their record could be completely different. Like all their losses are close. Close loss to the Chiefs, to the Panthers, the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Broncos, and now the Raiders. This team can easily be 6-2 right now. This team can easily be 7-1 right now. But it comes down to the end of the game and how they execute. I mean, especially when I'm watching that game against the Saints, cannot tell me Justin Herbert didn't have a great game. That play at the end, they want to blame him. Oh, it was a bad throw. As a receiver, as somebody that catches the ball, when the ball is in both of your hands, not just one, but two hands like this, and you drop it, that's on you. None of these games to me are on Justin Herbert. Like you said, is the defense being able to get stops. It's the person calling the plays, putting everybody in the best position to succeed. You're a great play caller. What's the outcome? So to me, coaching staff has to get better. And this was a team I thought they were going to be better this year. I mean, honestly, they showed that they're not bad because all the games that they're losing are close, and it could be completely different. I think with Derwin James, if he was healthy, things would be different. But for right now, I don't know. I don't know any Chargers fans. I don't, I'm not going to get into that. But, if there are Chargers fans out there, you couldn't tell me they're not disappointed in this team, that they keep blowing close leads like this. Oh, they're furious right now. They're furious.
No, well, this Chargers team has talent. They have a lot
of talent. A lot of talent.
And that's one thing that I thought that they were missing was a quarterback, and they have it now. So now you're trying to put everything together, but they can't seem to do it. And it's obviously not on the offensive side. You can blame it on the defensive side, but a lot of this, I truly believe, is on the coaching staff. So maybe it's time for a little bit of coaching changes. Anthony Lynn has been there for a while. He's done a decent job, but hasn't done great. So would you agree with me on that maybe it's time for a shakeup? It's time for Anthony Lynn to go, a new defensive coordinator?
Man, I don't know, because I don't know if you want to get a new head coach for your young quarterback. I don't know if you want to, because I don't want the quarterback to have a different coach after a different coach after a different coach. I think there's problems that have to be addressed, maybe a new defensive coordinator. But I want to be surprised if they're open up to it. Jason, I see a comment, running back has been an issue. Yeah, they let go of Melvin, Egler been injured, so I do agree their running game has to be addressed. But at the end of the day, this defense has to play better. You have Bosa, you have Ingram. I think he's healthy this year. You have, guys, they traded away a cornerback. So it looks like they might be getting some picks. They might look into the future. So who knows? Thinking about that, they might get rid of Anthony Lynn this offseason.
It's very well possible. I just know this Chargers team, if not next year, but the year after, they're going to be really, really good. And they're going down the right path. I can tell you that now. They just need maybe just a few more pieces, and they're going to definitely be one of the top teams. They
need Derwin James. To me, Derwin James, he's a top 3 safety in the NFL, in my opinion. He's top 3, top 3. Some people say top 5. Regardless, he's one of the best safeties, and we don't have him for 2 straight years. He's a part of that, defense that he's so dominant. I mean, you looked when he played, his rookie year, he can do everything on the football field, guard anybody, go into the, box, be a linebacker, be a corner, be a safety, be a slot corner. This dude is so versatile in the defense that they're missing him right now. They're missing their playmaker. And I do think if he was healthy, I know their record could be different without him, but I mean, this dude right here is just the guy that you need on your football field. And so, like you said, in the next couple of years, when this team's healthy, legit. And in this AFC, the 2 West, the AFC West and the NFC West might be the 2 best divisions in football. We just got to wait and see.
So Brandon Herrera says that Christopher Brown should become the Chargers head coach.
Yeah, I would definitely go out LA to coach. You kidding me? But no, I think I should be the Eagles. You know, I should be the Eagles offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I should be everything for the Eagles.
Oh,
But
and
the Eagle, but keep Doug Peterson because I like him, and I keep Schwartz because he could be the name. Just let me call everything. But on a serious note, I would definitely be the yeah, like I said, head coach, new quarterback. I'm gonna make sure all my players is taken care of, and we're gonna win games out in LA. Trust me, Brandon Herrera. I like that you know my future. I'm gonna be a head coach very, very soon. Probably one of these teams. Can you see one of them Philly teams right there? Sixers, Eagles, Phillies, Flyers.
right. I maybe not the Flyers. I don't see you really doing that, but maybe
What?
the 76ers, the Eagles or something.
I would definitely coach hockey. Are you kidding me? I never. I always wanted to get into hockey, and I don't watch it enough. But I would definitely be a head coach of hockey. I'll probably be kicked out after the first 2 years, but that's definitely something I do.
That's all right though, right? That's
Yeah, give it a try. Put your foot in the door.
right, because I've always told myself that I wanted to be the first owner of the Packers to ever. So, instead of the town, I wanted to own them. But that's all right. So with that being said, we've touched on all the afternoon games. We've touched on the Sunday night game. So I'll go ahead and I'll give you 30 seconds to wrap up whatever it is you have left to say. So go ahead.
Man, I just want to say thank you everybody for watching this post game show, for commenting on this post game show. You know, I'm glad we were able to interact with you, read your comments. You had some great comments. You know, keep liking this page, liking the video, sharing the page, sharing the video. You know, stay tuned for Real Talk tomorrow, 8:30 Central Time, 9:30, Eastern Standard Time. And I just want to say, everybody, my Eagles are still number one in the division. Please be on the lookout for some more Eagles crazy rants coming from yours truly, because it's about that time. In the second half of the season, the real Chris Brown Philadelphia fan is coming out now. Y'all thought y'all saw something? Please, you ain't seen nothing yet.
You haven't seen nothing yet from Christopher Brown. And with that being said, I want everybody to keep in mind that we have the game of the year tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. I'm just kidding, man.
The game of the year, man. They battle of the bums is what we're going to call this.
So, Chris, who's your pick for tomorrow night? You taking the Jets or the Patriots?
I want the Patriots to win, because if Cam Newton loses to the Jets, I just feel bad for his future. I think teams are going to hold this bad season he had against him, like, the stacks weren't, like he got dealt the best cards. He got dealt some of the worst cards that you can get. So I have, the Patriots winning this game, and I don't think the Jets want to win this game, because I'm not saying they're tanking for Trevor. I'm saying they're tanking to get more picks, allegedly. We don't know, because this team is just bad. Very, very bad.
I don't care. And I'm not talking about the Jets side. I'm looking at the Patriots side. I don't care what quarterback you stick on that Patriots side. You're not winning very many games, because this roster is horrible.
Yeah.
Just saying. This is horrible. So thank you, Chris. Yet again, it was awesome.
Hold on. Please, Brandon, don't disrespect my Philadelphia Eagles like that. Seeing we lose to the worst team in the NFL. My Eagles, listen, I'm calling it now. We play the Packers W, Seahawks W, Saints W, Cardinals W. Y'all haven't heard anything from me yet. Sorry to cut you off, Ace. I'm going to stop talking now.
All right. We were going on the same page there until you brought up the whole Packers and Eagles thing.
I apologize. But we don't have to get into it tonight. We don't have to get into it tonight.
Nope. You're good. You're good. All right. So I do want to thank everybody for watching. It was a great time. And for everybody who commented, thank you very much. So even talking about the comments one more time. So Chris, one more time, how, for all the people who are talking about wanting to win a shirt, how can they win a shirt?
You win a shirt by commenting while we're on live, liking the page, sharing the page, liking the videos, sharing the videos, just interacting with us, supporting us. We're going to tally it up at the end of the month. Brandon Herrera won a first shirt, and I just want to say thank you, Brandon. I'll send you my address. He's going to send me the shirt. What a fan he is. But yes, be that viewer of the month, and you're going to get your very own free ASAP Network t-shirt.
All right. Now, if you cannot hop on and comment, that's okay. If you want to look at these shirts, be like, hey, I need to think of a Christmas gift and I want to think of something cool. This might be an excellent gift for somebody who really, really enjoys sports shows. This might be the one. So how can they do that, Chris?
Listen, message us on Facebook, message us on Instagram, message us on Twitter, telling us that you want an ASAP shirt. Cost is $25 plus shipping and handling. You're going to get an ASAP Network shirt ASAP.
ASAP. All right. So one more time, thank you guys for watching. You guys can watch Chris tomorrow night on Real Talk. The topics are going to be lit. They're going to be awesome topics.
They're going to be amazing, y'all.
And then you can join me and J-Mac and mess around for the post-game show tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about after that game. So one more time, everybody have a great night and enjoy, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Peace out.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information.